Hey guys, and welcome back to A&J Education YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to get into Imperial College London for undergraduate admission. Let's go. Okay, so most people think that the university application process is sort of mysterious or confusing or it's not very clear what to do. So I'm going to give you the formula that I've perfected with my colleagues over the last 8 years, helping students from the UK and around the world get into Imperial. So the number one thing that comes first is the UCAS application. You go to www.ucas.com, you pay £26 and you fill that application form with your information, who you are, your date of birth, what school you go to, what subjects you study, what grades you previously received, any work experience, and all of that. It's not difficult, but it takes about 2-3 hours to fill up correctly, to double check everything. So take it seriously. That's number one. Point number two, super important point, is your personal statement. Now, most people have heard of an application statement. In the UK, it's called personal statement. That's what Imperial will want to see. It has a limit of 4,000 characters, including spaces. So that's about 650 words. So that's around a page and a quarter, or 47 lines. So depending on how you type and what sort of words you use, it can sort of, throw you off a little bit. But what we always suggest is start with a Google Doc, work in a single Google Doc. And if you write more, you can always cut later. So don't worry about that. Just for now. Now, the personal statement is really important because it needs to demonstrate to Imperial why you want to, if you're coming from abroad, why you want to come to the UK, why you want to study this subject specifically. What is it that can show me as an admissions tutor that you're motivated and inspired to study this subject? Do you have much work experience in the field? Have you done much reading? Have you done internships? Have you done volunteering relevant to the academic field? And unlike many students applying to America or other universities, Imperial does not care about you picking litter or you having a grade 8 in your violin. That's fantastic. Doesn't move the dial for Imperial. So if you're applying for chemistry or biomedical sciences or engineering or material science, whatever it is, make sure that your personal statement is focused on the subject. Now, we're going to do lots more videos on personal statements. Already there are a ton of videos on personal statements, but please remember that personal statement has to be focused on the subject. So if it's not answering the question, every sentence you read in your personal statement has to convince an admissions officer that you're the best thing since sliced bread, that you're the top candidate for the subject, and that you must get in. And if you're reading something that doesn't sell you to them in that way, cut it out. It shouldn't be in your personal statement. Which brings me to point number 3, references. Now, with the UCAS application to Imperial will expect one UCAS reference submitted by, normally by your mentor, your school teacher, whoever it is you nominate. Now, in some schools, have procedures. So they normally say, okay, your housemaster, your school, class teacher, class leader, whoever it is, writes the reference. So you don't have much choice there. In other circumstances, especially if you're applying from abroad, you can approach a teacher and ask them to write your reference. And so you have that flexibility to choose who that person is. Now, most people forget about the references and they think that, you just do well at school and, the school does a good reference. Wrong. Teachers are human beings and everyone has their emotions, feelings, and, the same perfections and imperfections that you and I have. This means that if they like you and they want you to succeed, they are more likely to write you a better reference than if they don't care about you, right? And as awful as it sounds, and of course teachers have to treat everybody the same and everything has to kind of work out. The sad truth is they write better references for students they like versus students who they don't like. So what you can do is you can invest in that relationship with your school teacher way early. And when I say early, I don't mean 1 month before the reference is due. Start this process 2 years before. Most students come to us, to A&J Education, normally when they're 15, 16, and will work for a year, 2, 3 years to build that relationship with their referee. So, doing all of their work is a given, doing the best as you can in their classes, but also volunteering for any extra work. if they're running clubs and societies and they need some extra help, be the first to volunteer. If you can, I'm not saying suck up to them, but I'm kind of saying suck up to them, because that is an investment that will pay off later. So if you can find a way to make them invested in you, in your success, in you as a person, that will go a very, very long way. So I recommend being in touch at least once a month. Doesn't always have to be in person. You can send an email. You can say, "Oh, by the way, Mrs. Smith, in the past month, I've been doing X, Y, Z outside of school, and I've been doing ABC in school." And also what this does is it helps by the time the reference writing process comes, you have positioned yourself, maneuvered yourself to a place where they think you're a great student, you're motivated, you work hard, you're ambitious, you want to do this. Now, if you don't stay in touch and if you don't communicate your desire to go to Imperial and all of this extra stuff that you have taken on, the reading, the conferences, the internships, the CV building, then if you ask them in September, let's say a couple months before the application deadline, they'll be like, okay, I'll write you something, but don't expect it to be good, because they don't know you. They're not invested in you. So how can you expect them to write something good? So start investing in that relationship nice and early. Now, the fourth point is the transcript. The transcript, you can't change that. So these are the grades you have already received in your studies so far. So if you have GCSE grades or something like that, that has gone on your UCAS application. Nothing you can do about that. It's a very bad idea to lie about your existing grades. So if they're bad, truth, difficult truth is always better. So put them down, because if you lie, get accepted, and then they find that you lied, that's a much bigger problem to have, because they can jeopardize all of your future applications and really screw you over. So you don't want to do that. Which brings me to my fifth point, predicted grades. Now, predicted grades is linked to the personal statement. Is linked to the teacher's reference. So the teachers assign you predicted grades. Again, do all of the things we discussed. Be a good student. Volunteer for extra work. Make them invested in your success. And this way you get good predicted grades. Now, obviously, some of you will say, listen, Sally, why should I bother building a relationship with my teacher? Because surely I should just focus on my studies. I do well. I get good predicted grades. Wrong. There is a lot of discretion. And if they want, let's say you're currently working at about B level, right? But for Imperial, I'm guessing, can't remember on top of my head, but the minimum requirements will be 3 A's, probably A star, AA for most of their courses. And if the teacher likes you, they can give you a predicted grade that is higher. That is the level that you're currently working at. So kind of in credit, as it were. Now, if they don't like you, and if they're not invested in your success, if they don't believe that you can make it to Imperial, there is very little incentive for them to give you a good predicted grade. So think about it and make sure that, again, that relationship is solid, that you get good predicted grades. It's a good idea to let your referee know and teachers know well in advance that you're thinking of applying to Imperial for this particular subject, and these are the grades you will need. Because again, if they know, it's better they know in advance and it doesn't come as a surprise later in the admission cycle. Now, this brings me to my point number 6, which is the interview. Imperial may have an interview for some subjects. So when I applied to Imperial for material science back in 2011, I had an interview there in early December. It was great. I came to London, stayed overnight with the godfather of a school friend of mine. So I didn't have to pay for accommodation. It was great. Went to Imperial, into the School of Mines building, had the interview there. The professor, she gave me a graph that sort of looked like this. I had no idea what was going on, but she just said, look, just take a guess. So I took a guess on how to solve. I think she wanted how to find the surface area or something. Anyway, I just made a guess. You need to integrate this, blah blah blah. The guess turned out to be correct. I got an offer from Imperial. Again, very important that the person who's taking the interview, that they like you. So turning up well presented, not being on your phone, and seeming keen and motivated, that does help. So make sure you do that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So there are 6 points: the UCAS application, the personal statement, the teacher reference, the school transcript of existing grades, predicted grades for the future that are dependent on your teachers, and the interview. Now, there are a couple of tips that you should know that will help you maximize your chances. So one thing is apply early. Most Imperial subjects, the deadline is 15th of January, but the Oxford and Cambridge deadline is 15th of October. Now, nothing's stopping you, even if you're not applying to Oxford and Cambridge, to apply to Imperial early by the October 15th deadline. Imperial doesn't know that you haven't applied to Oxford and Cambridge, but when they see an application before October 15th, they will automatically assume you're in that Oxbridge group, and basically success rates are higher. So if in October the admissions office doesn't get that many applications, in December, January, they're going to be much, much busier. So it helps you to submit your application early so they can read it, give it a very careful read without rushing, and the chances of you getting in are higher. This shouldn't be happening. It's not right, but it does happen. So it doesn't hurt to submit your application early, number one. Number two, attend an open day at Imperial. You can sign up for them online. They're free. There are also virtual open days that you can attend remotely, and talk to students, talk to professors. If you can call, email some professors, get in touch, maybe ask for recommended reading or, any other opportunities. That's great. Guess what? Admissions officers at Imperial, professors there, are human beings just like you and I. So if they have two people, two equally strong candidates, similar predicted grades, similar transcripts, similar reference, similar personal statement, similar everything, but one of them has been to every single open day, has stayed in touch by email, has been asking good questions, and they can sort of recognize the name and the look, versus the other candidate who's done none of this, and then they have one place. Now, if you were them, who are you going to take? I think we all know the answer. So investing in a relationship with Imperial and with any faculty members, admissions officers there does help. Again, it's not going to make a huge difference. And if you're not good enough, nothing can fix that. But if you can add an extra % of probability of getting in by doing very low effort stuff, then it's totally worth it. Guys, let me know how your Imperial applications go. Remember, this video was about undergraduate applications. There is a separate process for postgraduate applications. I'm going to record it a bit later. Let me know in the comments how you found it. And by the way, there is a link now to my monthly newsletter. Now, I send out a newsletter on university admissions, latest tricks, tips, advice. Comes in your inbox. I don't spam there. You can unsubscribe at any time. So if you think this can help you or your friends with your education, university admissions journey, sign up for my newsletter and you'll hear from me monthly on how to maximize your chances. All the best and take care till we meet again.